Or does Pennsylvania have a budget yet?
Not yet.
This has been, does Pennsylvania have a budget yet? Breaking the news that's already broken. It's time for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
Several websites are incorrectly reporting that today will be one of the shortest days in history due to the Earth's rotation. If you want to make it longer, just watch golf. A plane headed to San Diego diverted after a passenger stripped naked. It was diverted to Florida so the passenger could blend in. A new study has found that tortoises experience feelings not unlike our own, and in a recent poll, the majority of tortoises said they want to see the Epstein list too.
It's 60 Minutes meets Gone in 60 Seconds. Tune in tomorrow for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107. There's nothing Prospector likes more than to kill a misconception. Time for Your Whole Life is a Lie.
Many people believe today is the shortest day in history. Maybe you've heard that. Maybe you've heard today is the shortest day in recorded history. You might have seen it on the news show, or maybe a buddy told you, or maybe even saw it on social media or on the web. And I'm not talking about the least daylight or any of that nonsense. I mean, it's summer after all. I'm talking about the day itself actually being shorter, because that happens, and clock nerds make adjustments for that kind of stuff all the time. But the truth? Now, the rotation of the Earth speeds up and slows down depending on a few things. The biggest factor is how far away the moon is. The good news, if you're having a rough one, today will be 1.3 milliseconds shorter than normal. That's just over 1/1000th of a second, and you won't have to experience it. The bad news is you ain't going to notice that. And it's actually not a record. TheDailyMail.com went full clickbait with their headline calling it the shortest day in history, but according to calculations, it's not even the shortest day of 2025. July 22nd will be 1.38 milliseconds shorter than normal, and August 5th will be the shortest day of 2025 at 1.5 milliseconds shy of a full 24 hours. But the shortest day ever recorded so far was last year. July 5th, 2024 was 1.66 milliseconds shorter than normal. So, if you still think today is the shortest day in recorded history,
your whole life is a lie.
Good morning, it's Prospector Show on Rock 107. And Kate, the 40th anniversary of Live Aid is Sunday, and that featured a Sabbath reunion, among other things.
And if you want to relive that moment in music history, the official YouTube channel will be celebrating with over 10 hours of footage.
Now, a 4-part documentary is in the works. 4 parts. Live Aid, when rock and roll took on the world. It will premiere Sunday on CNN at 9 o'clock, but don't expect to see Led Zeppelin there. It bums me out. I love Zeppelin, but the 3-song set that reunited Page, Plant, and John Paul Jones was such a massive disaster that Zeppelin, have refused to let any footage of it be included on official releases. You can find it on the internet if you go looking.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to have to look at it later.
Oh, it's definitely there, and it's as bad as they think it was in a lot of ways. It really is.
As heard in this clip, MTV VJ Mark Goodman gave a spoiler on what they were going to play while talking over the intro to the first song. They didn't want it billed as a Led Zeppelin reunion, but wanted to help the charity.
Of course, he already, boom, drops the Led Zeppelin reunion bomb as soon as he starts.
Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce some friends of mine to you. Would you welcome Mr. Robert Plant, Mr. Jimmy Page, Mr. John Paul Jones. Good evening. I said good evening. There'll be a short intermission while I get some monitors.
Phil Collins on stage for what is now being called the Led Zeppelin reunion. This is the one that a lot of people have been waiting for. I'm not going to give away the whole set, but I will tell you this. That's rock and roll, and they're doing Stairway. Let's go to the stage.
Come on, Mark Goodman. You should have known better. Now, Page previously mentioned in a former interview that Phil Collins, who was one of the 2 drummers that filled in for the late John Bonham, couldn't properly play the beginning of rock and roll. Plus, they got less than 2 hours to rehearse.
Phil isn't too fond of the performance either. He says if he could have walked off, he would have, because he didn't feel needed and felt more like a spare part.
I mean, it had to be tough walking into John Bonham's shoes just like 5 years after he passes away. And Phil Collins is an amazing drummer, don't get me wrong. He's not Bonzo, though. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just
We're going to have to watch it later. I want to see how disastrous this actually was.
I lived it live. You can watch it later on. I guess if you want to check out a great reunion from Zeppelin, check out the O2 Arena show. That we should get you your Zeppelin reunion fix. Flaws, teeth, and a bad attitude. And look, you see it on the side of the road, it's limping around like it just lost a bar fight, and you're like, okay, great, yeah. But don't be like, I got this. What are you, the bear whisperer?
It happened late last month near the Oregon border. They didn't release the guy's name, but he's 59 years old.
59. You've lived through the end of Nixon, disco, dial-up internet. You should know better, dude. Did you think he was going to turn out to be like the mouse who saved the lion and you and the bear would be best friends for life and he'd help you out when you were in trouble? I'll save you from the fight? No, that's not how this works. Come on.
One report said he saw the bear get hit, but a later report said he hit the bear with his car. He felt guilty about it and got out to render aid.
That's the kicker. He might have hit the bear with his car first. So now you're out there playing Good Samaritan after you just tried to turn it into roadkill. That's like spilling somebody's coffee and then offering to mop their shirt with your sleeve. I mean, guilt is a hell of a drug, man.
He tried to give it a boost up over a concrete barrier on the side of the road. This wasn't a cub, by the way. It was a full-grown 400-pound black bear.
This thing's 400 pounds. Think 2 linebackers stuffed in a fur coat. You're not lifting that over a concrete barrier. You're volunteering to go to the ER.
The bear didn't know he was trying to help because it's a wild animal and chomped down on his left forearm multiple times.
I mean, what do you expect? It's a wild animal. This isn't your Uber driver. Bears, wild animals, they have one mode: survive the day. You just hooked up like, hey, let's be pals. Let me boost you up. No. It's going to chomp your arm like it's a chicken wing in a tailgate. I'm sorry.
An off-duty EMT applied a tourniquet to his arm and called 911. The guy was treated at a nearby hospital, but they didn't release details on his conditions. Sadly, the bear did not make it.
Yeah, and I feel bad for the bear. But look, I get this. Helping feels good. You want to be the good guy, the guy who saves Bambi's mom, or in this case, Cubby's mom. But there's a line between hero and lunch. And this guy almost found it out the hard way. Next time, call animal control, stay in your car, and keep your arms where they belong, firmly attached to your body.
Life's pretty tough right now. There's plenty of bad news, but it's not all bad. It's time for the brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
A 72-year-old woman in Montana was pinned under her riding mower when it tipped over, but some 14-year-old boys saved her life. She got pinned under the side, not the blades, but she lives on a lake in a remote area and no one else was there. She was stuck for about 4 hours. She says she felt like she was on her last breath when 2 boys went by on their fishing boat and saw her. In all, it took 5 people to lift it off, and she spent 4 days in the hospital with a bruised rib cage and fractured spine, but she's okay.
Thanks. We needed that. The brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107. Ladies and gentlemen, grab the kids, call your neighbors, and gather around the radio.
It's now time to announce the winner of Prospector's Jam Bag of the Day, as decided by you at rock107.com.
We uncover the most baffling, ridiculous, pathetic, cockeyed, laughable, preposterous blunders in the world of misdeeds. Nominee number 1.
When you're a defendant in court, it's never a good idea to commit the crime you're being tried for right in front of the judge. In Ireland, a 30-year-old convicted drug dealer named Tony Rowe was caught selling drugs in a courtroom during his own sentencing hearing. He was there dealing with a previous drug conviction when he was caught selling drugs to another convict who was also in the courtroom. It's unclear how they were caught exactly. I like to imagine it was a teacher catching a student passing a note in class, similar to that. The sale included marijuana and Xanax, and the dealer apparently snuck the drugs inside with him. He had over 100 previous criminal convictions for drug dealing and theft.
Nominee number 2.
His getaway plan? More like a cannonball into custody. A man in Madison, Wisconsin found himself in deep water, literally, after a rollover car crash. He fled the scene and ran into Lake Monoma and refused to come out. prompting a response from the Madison Police Department. Officers secured the area and after some time apprehended the suspect who was taken into custody. The incident remains under investigation as authorities work to uncover the reasons behind the crash and the man's decision to take a swim rather than face the police. Details about the suspect's identity or specific charges have not been released.
And the winner is...
the man who was caught dealing drugs while in a courtroom awaiting sentencing for drug dealing. You're the Yam Bag of the Day. And we'll move on to Friday's Yam Bag of the Week competition. Keep it here for all the nominees for Prospector's Yam Bag of the Day, weekday mornings on Rock 107. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss Prospector's Prime Cuts.